back to Quiet on the Set. I am your host, Phil Biadrone. Before we dive into the monologue, let me just clear the air right here. If you notice, I've got this little thing underneath my chin. This is not a bad shaving job or a hipster attempt at a soul patch. I was involved in a motorcycle accident just yesterday, and I required 16 stitches on my chin. I took a nasty spill. You should see the other guy. They're completely fine because they were in a car, like a safe person would do. So I got pretty ripped up. It was kind of gross. They had to cut off my jeans. I made some jorts out of it, so there was a silver lining. But I'm going to be moving pretty low today. And if my jokes don't work, totally fine. I am on painkillers, so I am enjoying myself. So let's delve right into the monologue, shall we? Recently, there was a huge same-sex protest happening in Mexico City. In fact, tens of thousands of people went to actually oppose same-sex marriage. When they were asked about it, most Mexicans said the same thing. The taco is meant for a burrito, and no two tacos and no two burritos go together. In fact, when a couple tried to get married, they were told, no way, Jose's. That's the way it is. That is the incentive of the Mexican president to push forward to legalizing gay marriage, but in a country that's over 80% Catholic, again, no way it's happening. So, in other news, the Emmys. Big deal, right? In fact, we've got a personal connection here at Quiet on the Set to the Emmys because one of our past guests, if you remember Eddie Perez, right, he was the stunt coordinator for Shameless. He actually took home an Oscar, so let's give him a round of applause. Not only do we have an Emmy Award-winning person on our show, but he is the first Hispanic to be nominated and to win. So that is another first in television history. So that is incredibly incredible. Let's talk about the results of the Emmys themselves. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, she took home the Emmy for the Best Actress in a Comedy Series, which I understand, but I was a little confused because I thought Jeffrey Tambor was going to definitely take that one home. The joke's a little transparent. But he did end up winning. He won for Best Actor, and what's even more interesting is that Louis Anderson won Best Supporting Actor for Baskets. I don't know if you've seen the show, but he also is dressing as a woman. He's Zach Galifianakis' mother. So that just goes to show, if you want to win an Emmy, just be an old fat guy and just wear a dress, because that seems to be what's working these days. See Tyler Perry? It can work. It can be funny. Another news. This is very recent. So Michael Bay has his new Transformers film. It is the 5th in the series, and he's made a grave mistake. He's taking Winston Churchill's old former residence and turned it into a Nazi headquarters for this next film. Yeah. Apparently, he thinks he really is the man in the high castle. And let me tell you, Churchill is rolling in his grave. He is buried just a mile away. Not only is he rolling his grave, he's transforming into a Britbot to exact revenge on the Nazis in disguise. So there's a lot of backlash from a lot of the communities saying that it's disrespectful for Churchill. But Michael Bay said himself, and I quote, once Churchill sees it, he will be smiling. You really have to see the film to enjoy it. And I don't know if you've seen any other Transformers film that couldn't be any farther from the truth. So we'll see what happens. On a more serious note, there is a lot of tragedy occurring, especially in Aleppo, Syria. 23 civilians have been killed with the mass bombings. The city is devastated. Oh, I'm actually getting updated news right now. Thank you. This might be... Guys, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really sorry, but we do have a real tragedy that has occurred. It seems that Brad and Angelina have broken up. 12 years they were together, and 2 years of those they were married. They have 6 beautiful international children, and they're just over. And Mr. and Mrs. Smith are no longer. Wow, this is really tough. Angelina broke up with him. Brad said, "Is there no one else?" No, but she was not cheating. I should mention it, but the first rule about Brangelina is that you do not talk about Brangelina. When she handed him the divorce papers, he asked, "What's in the box?" What's in the box? Guys, I'm sorry, 12 years together, and since Brad produced 12 Years a Slave, maybe that was a glimpse into his marriage with Angelina? I don't know what happened there. But maybe that little Aleppo boy can be adopted. Oh, no, it's too late. Guys, I'm sorry. This is really overwhelming me. Maybe let's just take a break. More to come. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
You're supposed
Welcome
to
back.
see. This is what happened.
I am not Phil.
No, neither am I. Neither am I. But we are here to talk about a new game. Well, a new expansion. I shouldn't say new game, but a new expansion that came out just recently called Destiny: Rise of the Iron Banner. Now, Destiny's been around for about 2 years now,
Yeah.
and Garen has played it, and I've played it, and Garen's hated it since
About
before the Taken King. Yeah, a
Yeah.
year ago.
Yeah. It was a lie. It was never meant to be put out to the public like that. But,
The original game.
But EA,
Activision. Someone needs his note cards.
They're Satanists and they hate people, and that's why they put out that game. And I guess Robert has a different opinion. Than
Well, no, I mean, basically, because I bought the game, I actually pre-ordered it like a day before it was supposed to come out. So I had to preload it, I played it, I've been playing it ever since Tuesday, since the day it came out. And I have to say that I've actually really enjoyed myself. Again, the campaign isn't long, but the story's really good. Because you kind of learn, in Destiny before, there were the Trials of the Iron Banner.
Yeah.
And basically, it was kind of, you went into the Crucible. The Crucible is a multiplayer kind of version of it.
Yeah.
And so, it was really cool because your light didn't matter. It was really the power of your gun and gear.
Yeah.
And so, again...
It helped people with actual advantages, like, play the game. And
Right.
Which is fun, and you get rewards out of it, too.
Right, because normally when you play the multiplayer in this, it's all balanced out to everyone be even. Now, the different guns get the different perks, but again, that's not what this is about. It's about the Iron Banner. And we kind of find out where that all started and where that came from and why the person who visits the tower that starts the event is the only one left of his kind, or of the guild, or whatever you want to call it. And it was actually a really good story, and we're introduced to a new version of Fallen. Fallen is a race in the game that basically...
They're one of the bad guys.
They're one of the 4 bad guys. And so we're introduced to a new race, and they're being modified with technology. And so they look really cool. It's like if you took the new iPhone 7 and it mated with the grunts from Halo... And this is what it is.
Well, the thing that I found really weird about the new expansion is how I like how they're going with better storytelling, because I guess, I don't know, for some reason they heard when people were complaining it took 2 years. But
no, this happened last year with the Taken King, because even the Taken King, the storyline, again, not as long.
The Taken King, I am 100% confident was Destiny 1, but then they were like, no, we need money, and they held it back for a year.
It is, but did you play it?
No.
Exactly, and so that's the thing, is when you actually went through the storyline and the whole Crota and all this different thing, it was great, it was fun. It was like, it starts off and you're sitting here and now you're dealing with all these you're dealing with the 3 different factions, plus the Taken, and the Taken's all of those put together,
yeah,
but modified into like this ghost form, and it was fun. Like, that's the thing, is that for expansions, these are some great expansions.
Now, how's the gameplay of it like so far? Like, have you noticed what changed so far between?
This leads me to the entire point why, if you haven't bought Destiny or you have never gotten into this game, whether on Xbox One or PS4 now, because they're no longer supporting 360 support and or PS3 support. But if you're looking for a great multiplayer game and you have basically a PlayStation Plus or an Xbox Gold account, this is the time to get Destiny. If you've waited the 2 years and you're like, blah 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 blah, this is the time, because at this point you have 2 years worth of content for like $70.
Yeah, which is a great deal. Great deal for new players. Horrible shit deal for people like me who actually.
Unfortunately. But for again, and that's my point. That's what I'm saying here. If you haven't played it, or even if you weren't here last year, getting it now, you have so much more content to do.
Now, how much do you know, if I already bought the first year's games, how much do you think I would pay to get the Taken King and now the Iron Banner?
You might as well just buy the all together pack, because it's probably going to be the same. It's going to be
okay.
I depending on where you get it. I think it's going to be, because it's $30 for the Rise of the Iron, and so I think it's going to be another. It's going to be $15 to $30 for the Taken King.
You see, would that delete my old account?
No,
if I buy the new game.
I don't know. It's because you log in through your Xbox account.
Oh, so just buy it.
Yeah, and so basically you're buying the new game and they're gonna give you codes for the expansions.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and you might get a few other perks because you're buying that collection as well.
Which is still a good deal. You're paying $10.
I mean, but again, back to the original point. I mean, when I was playing, I played the Taken King, and I've been through some of the patches, but now with the Rise of the Iron, I'm noticing a lot of different things. Engrams. Engrams are these basically little glowing orbs of stuff that are undecoded weapons and armor. And basically what you do, you take it to a person in one of the social spaces, and they decode it, and you'd get weapons and armor.
Yeah.
And so basically what happens now is that in the beginning of Destiny, those are really hard to come by.
Yeah, extremely hard.
They're really, you would have to, farm a long time to get them. But now they drop like that, and they're dropping, and they're really good. And it's weird because it doesn't feel like it's taking away from the exclusivity on some of them. But a lot of the blue and green engrams, those are lower rarity in the game, are coming up quicker and they're funner. And now like even when the Taken King came up, because I don't know if you were around when you can infuse weapons.
Yeah, I know. I remember. I still had the game long enough before to know
that. So basically you can infuse weapons. So you can take a weapon that isn't as good, but has a higher attack, and fuse it to a weapon that has a lot of perks, but not a high attack. Or it's from a year before, something like that. Right. And the thing is, now you could upgrade the weapons you love a lot quicker.
That's good, because I think what was hard about the random... Because a lot of what people complained about
in the
beginning was grinding. It was hard to come by something, even if you come by it, there's another rare chance that you get something. I think to compensate for the random aspect of what you could get, if you give more engrams, if you give them more of an opportunity, it balances it out. Because even if you don't get anything, you're after gaining 50 of those engrams, you're still getting 50 engrams. Where 2 years ago you were lucky to get 10.
And even they restructured how the engrams work. So before you were getting lower classes stuff, now you could get that engram and higher.
Okay.
So the thing is, if I get a blue, I could possibly get a purple or a rare or yellow. If you get a purple, you get a purple or yellow, stuff like that. So it doesn't go down anymore either. Which was, they fixed that a long time ago. But the other thing is that now they've also reworked a lot of different things, like strange coins. Strange coins are really hard to come by, which is another in-game currency that you use to deal with a person who comes by only once a week.
Yeah. And
those are really hard to come by. And again, easy. The thing is, they've made it a lot more friendlier to people before. And again, that comes with time. It's an MMO. We all seen this happen. A lot of times, games could pull out of it. Like when World of Warcraft started, it wasn't as good as it is now.
Well, I would have to agree and disagree. It got better with more. The game got bigger, but there was a point where Warcraft, when it came out, it was escalating from the beginning up, and then it dipped down.
Yeah.
Only until recently, which I've heard. Side note: Legion apparently is amazing, so get Legion if you're still playing WoW. But
or resubscribe.
Reactivate your account.
Yeah.
But I feel like Destiny so far has been the opposite, because Warcraft was super popular when it came out. It already had it jumped up and it destroyed its entire competition in the beginning. Destiny didn't. Destiny disappointed a lot of people, but then it started. So far from what you're telling me, it started making it up to those people.
It did, and to kind of tie this all out. Destiny, when it first came out in year one, and even in their second or in their 1 year cap, it became a problem to where it was basically they started to deal with the old generation. Now with the Iron Banner, this was the first one they'd have to deal with the PS3s and Xbox 360s, and so that made a huge difference. And so I think on that note, just to remind you that if you haven't bought the game up to this point, I think it's definitely worth getting.
Okay.
Even if you didn't do the Taken King, I think that those two expansions together justify a whole new game. Because every expansion is a third of the original, and so I think that's
all right.
Yeah, with new Crucible and stuff like that. So on that note, I say get it if you haven't got it before. Even if you've got me, I don't know. That's where it gets dicey. If you've had it before, I wouldn't recommend it because you're probably gonna be bored with it, unfortunately. So, coming up next, we're going to be showing a music video by our host, Phil Biedron.
Woo!
And it's called Canadian Girls. I helped shoot it, and we've helped all crew on it. So, hope you enjoy it.
My American world. What you think? Hockey stick. Bonkers. Hardcores. Winnipeg. Beer cake. No green. A boot.
Mixed together.
Oh yeah.
Tim Hortons makes me
In my American world.
My American world. You watch the hockey game, don't change the channel. I'll cover you in maple syrup, wrap you up in flannel. I don't need a girl with a spray on tan. All I want is the pasty chick from Saskatchewan. I'm Wayne Gretzky on the ice back and forth. I go down south on a girl from up north. I'll sing in your ear some Michael Bublé. Later tonight, you'll be screaming, "Hey, hey!" Journey to Canada, you know I'm en route. No question of the girls that I'm talking about.
Canadian girls.
mixed together.
North American swirl.
Oh yeah.
Canadian girls.
Tim Hortons makes me
In my American world.
My American world.
Oh, Canada.
We stand on guard for thee.
Oh, Canada.
Would you like some company?
Oh, Canada.
We stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada.
But you'll lay down for me.
And don't get me started on
French Canadian girls.
Tout
J'aime les
ensemble.
femmes de Montréal.
Mais oui.
Femmes canadiennes françaises. J'aime tout le Canada.
Alanis Morissette, Celine Dion, Katie Lang, Paula Abdul, Kim Cattrall, Caroline Ray, you know, and from Sabrina.
And Hilda.
2, 1.
Wow, that was quite a sexy music video. wouldn't you
Yeah.
guys agree? All right,
All that dancing.
all that
Yes.
dancing. Before we continue, remember to like and subscribe to our channel. We appreciate it. So we're going to talk about South Park. Something
Yes.
we're all very well versed on,
Oh,
and
yes.
we're usually all pretty positive about it. I believe this is the beginning of the 20th season.
20th
20th.
season.
It's for 2 episodes have aired. It airs Wednesdays at I believe 10:30.
10 o'clock, yeah.
And they've had some changes with the last season as well. They sort of have this continuing arc of a story.
Yeah.
So from last season, we see that Mr. Garrison is still running for president, right? Which is an obvious Trump reference. They've added. They have the Soto Sopa. They have this re-gentrification of the
PC
town.
Principal's still
PC
there.
Principal still there.
People are talking about stuff that happened in previous seasons.
Right, yeah. So,
It's amazing.
what are your thoughts? Do you like that
Oh,
continue? Like,
I
because
love
before
it so
was
much.
Kenny got killed at the end of each episode. It was a reset.
It's really good what they're doing because it changes things up mainly. The main reason why I like it, obviously, like, I think Trey Parker's an amazing writer, and I think no matter what he could what him and the whole staff could put together is going to be fine. But I like what they're doing not just because it's good, but because it's different and fresh for them.
Certainly, yeah.
And in the beginning, I was kind of weary of like, oh, okay, like this is because I like the idea of every episode being a small petri dish of like an idea of a stupid idea that they have. But now
or
it's
a
like
commentary on what just happened in the news.
yeah, like and it's and that was the South Park like that was their specialty. But now it's like
Sorry to cut you off real quickly. For most people who don't know, South Park, they have a season ordered, but not any other episodes are written. They usually wait for the events to happen during the week, and they'll just, within a week, they'll bang out an
Yeah, 6
entire
days.
episode. 6 days.
Recommended
6 days.
documentary to watch is 6 days there.
It's incredible.
Yeah, that'll show the process of the beginning to the end, the inception to the delivery of the product. So I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
It's fine. But I like the serialization. I think it's a good idea. What do you think, Jason?
I agree. I remember the first time they did it. I was shocked, and I didn't. I had to pause it. I'm like, wait, did they just? Let me rewind that. Make sure that they're
Was this-
talking about the previous
Was
episode.
this the
I feel
first
like
time
I'm
South
having
Park
a-
shocked you?
It was the first time, maybe not that it shocked me in like an appalling, oh, I can't believe they did that on TV sort of
Yeah.
way, but I was stunned because it was a severe break from like 18 or 17 previous seasons worth
Right.
of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was really hesitant at first, like, oh, this is, what if they like run out of steam in 3 episodes or whatever,
Right.
and it just continued to impress me. And for it to all culminate in one episode that brings all of it together, you just sit there and you in awe, but in like a good way,
Right.
of just how well written it is.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and there are other animated series that have quite long time spans. Family Guy,
The Simpsons.
But you see, like those kind of have run out of steam at this point.
It's because they stopped being the show and they stopped being the brand of the show. You know what I mean? Like it ended up being bigger than what it was before. That's what I think. 'Cause
There's a little bit of that, but I think it's also that South Park has been the same team, or at least the same heads, the entire time that it's been on TV.
Yeah.
Whereas these other shows become network properties, and the network goes, oh, we have to keep The Simpsons on. The Simpsons makes us money. We have to do that.
Yeah.
And so people get fired, and they bring in new writers, and they do that.
Then
And for South
people
Park,
have-
it's just
people
been...
die. Like it's
Yeah.
Well,
Simpsons.
there's
some
that,
of the
too.
lead actors are no longer with us.
Absolutely, but there's a difference between, like, I'll give you an example. Homer Simpson, as I understand it from the history of The Simpsons, has been to New York for the first time 3 times in the history of the show.
Okay.
And they forget, because the new writers haven't even seen some of the original episodes of the show, so they do things over again, and the Bible is this big.
Right.
So
What's,
they
what's a Bible?
a
in
show
case-
Bible, just a kind of a history of the show, all the facts about it, all the rules, and we don't have this happen, and this character looks like this and has these things.
Got
It's
it.
kind of like for any new person to come in, and they have like a giant reference table,
Sure.
specifically to make sure that Homer doesn't go to New York for the first time 3 times, and yet
Yeah.
a show like The Simpsons has been on for so long
Right.
that it's just
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
it's funny that you say that about the writers. That's the biggest part, is that they keep cycling through writers, because Seth MacFarlane probably doesn't even write for the show anymore. He has like no I don't think he has any creative fill in the show anymore besides being the voice of Peter and all the various characters.
Still on, right?
Yeah, still
Family Guy?
Still airing?
Yeah, it's still
New
airing.
episodes? Wow.
Which it got bad.
it got bad, but then it got good again, but then it got bad, like most of these shows that change hands.
But that's what South
They're
Park
different,
didn't do,
though,
And,
you know?
Yeah, I think it's because Trey Parker and Matt Stone are so heavily like involved. Because if you watch 6 Days to Air, you'll see that how the process and the way it goes. They don't have time to. Not only they don't have time to rest, but Trey Parker is writing the scripts. Imagine how hard it's writing one draft for a pilot. He writes like 7 or 8 before the week ends,
Wow,
and like
yeah.
7 or 8 different drafts.
Yeah.
So like it's insane. But
In addition to voice acting
and
all the
doing
other
all that
creative
stuff.
as
So
well.
but that's how having your hands in it and being left alone also has to do with the network, because Comedy Central leaves them alone.
Now, I do love the writing. I love everything. One thing I actually don't like is that in the past few seasons, there's only been like 10 episodes per season.
Yeah.
And before, it used to be like 17, 18, 20 episodes. So having only 10, I was kind of like,
I think it's because it burns them out so hard when they go
Yeah.
through a season. Like
Yeah.
I know the documentary explains, oh, we do it in 6 days. Blah, blah. I don't think they always did that. I think that was as they became known for topical and current event based humor.
Yeah.
at the
that
beginning, they
became
didn't
their
really
way.
have that.
It was
Right.
because of technology. Because at some point in the beginning they go like, oh, we finished an episode in 2 weeks. Oh, we finished an episode in 10 days. Wow, I can't believe we did that. And then it ended up just being like the cap was 6 days, because that's how they figured out that they could do it.
Right.
And it was mainly because of technology. Because back then apparently like they had giant still like old, really heavy computers that were rendering all this animation, and they need like a giant office space. But now they picked out Max off the shelves to do the animation that they do now. So it became
incredible.
easier for them. So like, and
Yeah, 20
it's
years.
all animation cycles too. But I think the main contributed to like how they do stuff too. Not the main, but one of them is the fact that they are with Comedy Central.
Yeah.
Because
A cable network will leave creatives alone to do what they
Yeah,
want.
they will
So
literally
sometimes-
leave them alone.
With the record they have in
Yeah.
20 years.
They earned it,
They-
but
they've lost it. They've
they
lost it.
wouldn't have gotten away with it on.
there's a
network.
lot of references that I've heard about shows from people who like writers who worked on shows for Comedy Central that went to network and then talked about the differences.
Yeah.
Like an example would be like in network they force you to do a holiday special episode.
Ah,
They want
Yeah.
you to do it. They like tell you on Comedy Central. They encourage you not to do something like that and do something random because they can't cycle it over and over again
Sure.
because
Yeah.
you can't do a Christmas episode in July.
Yeah.
So they were encouraged to do that. But South Park was one of the only shows that did a holiday episode, not because it was all Merry Christmas kind of thing, but because they turned Christmas into a satanic blood orgy. And that was but that's the only reason. They were the only exception to that.
Yeah.
So I think with this new season, though, it's a real big commentary. I love the commentary on not only just like the world around, like the world and what's going on, but on themselves. I think that's a lot of the subtext.
What I like to do is I like to predict what the episode's going to be about based on the current news.
Yeah.
You know, so like, oh, this Wednesday, what happened in the news? Oh, the you know, taking a knee during the anthem. You know, let's see if that, and obviously like they lead with that, and it's
Right.
like, oh yes, I was
Well,
right.
You
Yeah.
used to be able to do that when it was actually specifically like what happened this week because it's a new episode.
Uh-huh.
I'm finding with the recent seasons you can't do that as much because they'll come back to an issue 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
Once they find a way to fit it into the grand arc of their story.
Yeah.
And that's why I think each season since they started doing this has been more about like what does everybody have a problem with on a grand scale, and PC was what they did last year. I mean, a lot of stuff happened, but it was all PC. And this year, it's like
I think
internet
it's-
trolls,
Yeah,
and
internet
social
trolls,
media, and
Smartphones, people, social media. Yeah.
I think what's
absolutely.
interesting is last
Big
season.
election, obviously.
Like, I
course.
think I sent you those videos, right? The Wisecrack videos on last season. Last season.
I don't know.
I might have sent it to you guys, but it was basically a lot of the commentary on last season was like a huge like giant criticism of neoliberalism and all that, and they were making fun of using all the PC cultures. But with this season, I think a lot of it has to do with they're getting old and they know they're getting old, and a lot of the commentary is based on the idea like, are we too old for this?
Oh, like is their
Are
perspective
they-
skewed because they become old people?
Yeah, like that's what it was. Because before the whole appeal of them is that there are these rebels. There are these guys that were
The libertarians, by the way.
they're like libertarian, borderline anarchical in a way. Like they don't care. Like
But they were
love-
young, they were in their 20s, and they were showrunners.
Yeah, and they were
creators.
they were given a crap ton of money to do all that
Yeah,
stuff.
but-
Now that they're in their 40s, it's like now that a lot of the jokes are like, wait, are we right or are we just wrong because we're old now?
I think that it's grown like wine. The maturity is amazing. That's a whole can of worms that we can't delve into at the moment. So we're gonna
Watch it.
watch the show every Wednesday, 10:30 Comedy Central.
Hashtag not sponsored.
We're gonna be back with our special guest Scott Trost. Stick around. Quiet on the Set. Next to me is Scott Trost. Scott Trost, I don't even know how to introduce this man. He's internationally renowned acting teacher, All-American Frisbee player, lawyer, poet, writer, hero. Only person I've ever met that went through an entire year of college without wearing shoes. So Scott, welcome to Quiet on the Set.
I have shoes on today, so
College days are over.
how you doing?
Ah, not so well. I had a painkiller during the break, so I'm bouncing back.
Yeah.
So Scott, tell me a little bit about how you got into the business. What's your passion? Acting, training, things like that.
I was a really shy kid, and my mother was worried that I was never going to talk to anyone, so she enrolled me in an acting class, and I've never stopped talking since.
When was that?
When I was about 8 years old.
Wow. Okay.
So she was just looking for some way to get me out of my shell,
Uh-huh.
and I developed this incredible desire to be on stage and perform, and it was just a great release for me.
Mm-hmm.
So through high school, college, and on, I continued to look for every opportunity I could to be on stage and to act, and
Mm-hmm.
that led to being involved with other parts of the business,
Sure.
writing,
Yeah.
directing, teaching acting,
Mm-hmm.
and so here we are.
Yeah. Here we are.
Quite a few years later.
Excellent. So also, I know our fans might like this. Were you on Star Trek?
I was in Star Trek, and in fact, I have now a Star Trek trading card.
I've seen it. Yeah.
And I have it with me, but if you'd like one, I'll present one to you at the end of this interview.
I would be honored. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Scott Trost is his own acting. That'll be like your calling card, right? I mean.
I suppose it looks, it's a lot better looking Scott Trost than the current one,
Uh-huh.
because it was quite a few years ago. But yeah, no, I had a reoccurring role on that show, and
It was Next Generation, right?
Next Generation. I also was actually on an episode of Deep Space Nine,
Oh, cool.
where I played a Bajoran, so I had the little French fry nose.
Yeah, yeah.
going.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Also, you mentioned you did other aspects in the industry. You've written a book.
Written a book, All You Need to Know About the Movie and TV Business,
Uh-huh.
co-written with Paramount Pictures attorney Gail Resnick, and
Wow,
still a bestseller 20 years later.
that's amazing.
Yeah. It was a fun book to write, to try to. It was partially my way of figuring out the industry myself, is just to write a book about it. So
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. So maybe you should give an update to it. Now with social media and stuff like that. Make a new
deserves an update. Yes, it does.
All you need to know about acting: when you send your black and white headshot over to the casting director, so you've been in pictures before.
It is.
Well, on another note, you're a lawyer, right? And then you travel all around the country, and you do this awesome. If you haven't followed him on Instagram, it's Airport Running Man. Somehow you got the handle.
Yes, I did get the. Yeah. Funny how no one had taken that handle yet.
And you send a weekly video of you running through every airport in this country.
If you go on Instagram and go to Airport Running Man, you will find the videos of myself running through airports.
But you say bop 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 before you run. What is that? Why do you do that?
That was an inspiration. The first video I made,
Yeah.
I blurted that out, and now it's my handle, so to speak.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So check that out, Airport Running Man.
Probably the most worthless of expenditure of your time you could have to watch the Airport Running Man running through an airport. But it's there on Instagram, just like all the others.
That's cool. That's cool. So currently, I know that you're highly involved. Scott's actually my acting teacher at Playhouse West. So Playhouse West, of course, is the acting school by Sanford Meisner. I did the Cliff of Time there, which I mentioned in a previous episode. So you teach there.
Yes.
Also, you're involved with. What are some of your current projects? What was it?
Well, one with you.
What? No. What is
funny?
it?
Funny how that works out.
Funny how I got you to say it.
We are casting a pilot for a sitcom, starring you, written by you, called Hostel Chicago.
Yes.
Hostel, as in youth hostel, like a youth hotel.
If you want Hostel Chicago, that'd be the South Side. That's the dangerous part. So, that's a different script. Yeah.
Yes, that is a
That's
different
quick,
script.
Yeah.
But we are in the process of casting. We're going to shoot it actually on this space, in January, the pilot, and then see what happens with it after that.
So your involvement is.
I am directing the pilot episode,
Excellent.
and then
Okay.
we'll see what happens.
Wonderful.
When we get finished with that.
So this will be a multicam. So much like the setup we have here for Quiet on the Set,
3 cameras. There we go.
3 cameras, live switching. We might make it live. I don't know if we're deciding against that or not. But if so, it'd be cool to have a pilot shot as a multicam, which is I never really see this done. Do you ever see like just small groups of production companies putting together a multicam pilot? Is something that at least I haven't seen.
I haven't seen it either, and it surprises me that there's not people who are picking up. The technology now is so inexpensive,
True.
and anyone can get out there and get 1 camera, 3 cameras, the switching equipment for a very modest price. And if they can find a space, then
Yeah.
they can produce their own show.
Our budget's $25, and that's for craft service.
Yes.
So yeah, that's right. That's not true. Not true. But
A little
yeah.
bit more expensive than that, but it really is so much more affordable than most people think.
Mm-hmm.
20 years ago, I was so frustrated with the lack of jobs. I was struggling like all other actors with getting into auditions to audition for TV shows and films that I said, why am I waiting around for opportunities when the technology is available to me now to make my own materials? So I started a film festival, the Playhouse West Film Festival, which is now in its 20th year.
Yeah, you know what? Kind of a connection to that. I just submitted Canadian Girls, which you just watched. I submitted that to the film festival because
That's
this year
awesome.
they're accepting music videos.
Yeah.
So.
But I
Thank
just,
you.
I just thought it made so much sense for the actor themselves to start taking control of their own career, and so that every year there's about 250 films that are submitted by Playhouse West actors
Yeah.
to that film festival. It's just phenomenal to see the films that they make.
We had time for one more story. I did want to hear because James Franco is connected to Playhouse
Ah.
West. You got training there, and did you blow him off or? You
Yes,
still-
I am. I can claim to have blown off James Franco.
What happened?
Well, this is an interesting point, Phil, because you don't know when you're meeting someone what they're going to become. When I first met James Franco, he wasn't James Franco. He was just a young kid
Sure.
who was a beginning student at Playhouse West, and at that point, I was an advanced student. I was actually on faculty at the time. I was
Okay.
teaching, and he came up to me after one of the classes and he said, "Hey, I'd like to do a scene with you." And I said, "Well, who are you?" And he goes, I'm James Franco." I said, "Okay, so?" He goes, "Well, I got a scene, I'd like to do it with you." I said, "Well, are you in the advanced class?" He goes, "No, I'm a beginning student." I said, "Well, I'm sorry, but I don't do scenes with beginning students." And the next week he came back and he invited me to do a different scene. He goes, "I figured you didn't like that other scene, so let's try this one." I said, "Look, what's your name again?" He said, "James Franco." I said, "Look, James, let's get this straight. I'm an advanced student. I teach here. You're a beginning student. I don't do scenes with beginning students." And then I saw him walk over to a friend of mine and ask him to do a scene, which he did. And now that Brian Lally has been in every film that James has made since then, I haven't talked to James since that time. So let that be a lesson to you.
James, if you're watching.
James, I'm so sorry I blew you off. But it is. It's
I'll
the
take a co-star, anything.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's a good lesson. Anytime someone comes up to you and says, "Do you want to do something?" you should say, "Yes, thank you."
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Lesson to everyone out there. I would love to delve into more stuff. Welcome Home Soldier. We just have a snippet of time left. Did you want to just mention that briefly, what Welcome Home Soldier is?
Welcome Home Soldier, the longest running drama in the United States right now.
Wow.
In its 25th year.
Wow, take that, South Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, South Park.
And it's this Saturday at 8 o'clock, Playhouse West.
October 1st.
It's free. Maybe we can put a link down to it. And Scott, one original cast members, and also wrote it.
Yep.
Wrote the speech. I'll be doing it. I'll be in it.
That's right.
Even with my little stitches, hopefully to be out by then. Anyway, thank you for attending, Scott.
Thank you, Phil.
Audience, please remember to like and subscribe, and we will see you in a couple weeks. Have a good Sunday.